Hiya interwebs, Girl Germs here with a gameplay commentary over a few rounds of CG Pug. This is getting uploaded to the Zucreta network first, so be sure to sub over there, especially their lock and load channel where some of my content is going to go every Friday. They have a lot of channels there and they deal with all kinds of gamings like MMOs and adventure and everything, and graphics too. But lock and load is my home over there, and that's because it's all about shooters. Okay, about the gameplay. Pugs is short for pickup game. It's a fairly social way for competitive gamers from various teams and abilities here in Oz to practice the competitive rule set. Basically, there are two halves of 12 rounds, and we play with no perks or proficiencies and with a limited number of weapons and attachments we can use. So basically it comes down to smarts and accuracy and communication, and also being search and destroy 5v5. Everyone only has that one life per round, so self-preservation is really important for you and obviously your team. You'll see a mixture of rushes and pushes and holders. This is our defense half, and I was practicing holding chooks and library mostly. You'll see me checking out buildings and alleys and trying to keep an eye on that A-bomb from that side. So yeah, not one of my strongest maps for defense. I like attack on this one. So it was good practice. I really like this map for the game type. It's one of the few maps where your amazing strat with your amazing team can get absolutely shagged by a better strat and a weaker team. I'm not really sure how it happens. Maybe because it's defendable or there's so much cover, but you can play two teams in a night exactly the same way and just get owned one time and then romp them another time. It's really exciting. I don't think I've ever played an actual match on Seatown that wasn't close. No, actually I did once, but they were a player down, so it doesn't really count. Today, I wanted to take a few minutes to thank everyone for their feedback on my last two commentaries. I was talking about how to decide if you're actually in love with that gamer chick you like, and how to get the attention of a cool chick in your lobby. I got a lot of PMs, the largest number of PMs I've ever had, from people telling me about your experiences. I'm loving it. It's really interesting. And I have to say that some of you have had some utterly pooey experiences with online romance. And many of you have quickly come to realise that everyone online lies, to some extent. Okay, maybe not lie exactly, but people can mask the truths about themselves. And some people have found that the hard way, and you poor buggers. But anyway, that pretty much brings me to where I'm going today. I wanted to touch on how to approach that first meeting. Just imagine you've been friends with someone online and you've got a bit of a crush, and now you have the opportunity to hang out IRL. Let me put a huge neon disclaimer on this. I need to say that 99% of your online infatuations are never going to get to this stage. You're not going to get to meet. It's just not going to happen. They're either going to peter out first, or they're just going to be geographically or financially impossible to achieve. So don't count on ever meeting that person, but it can. So anyway, that's the first rule, I think, of starting a relationship with someone from your gameverse. Just don't expect it to happen, because it probably won't. But if you're lucky and the stars align and the universe decides that you can give it a shot, never forget that that person has been hiding one or two things just like you have. And they mightn't be physically what you're expecting. They might be a lot shyer in person than they are online. They just could be different. They mightn't be what you expect. So if you want to take things to the next level, it's going to require a period of adjustment once you get in the same room. Basically, shit's going to be awkward. It could last minutes or a whole day, but the likelihood of the object of your affections falling into your arms while very casually undressing themselves and you are slim. Don't get me wrong, it can happen. That way, it's happened to me actually, which went to a remarkably crazy place. I actually wouldn't recommend that. I'd suggest taking it slow. Those first minutes and hours are really important to solidify your bond, if you indeed have one. You're either going to realise that you have something very special, or one or both of you is going to come to understand quickly that it was all nice in theory, but that you actually don't have any physical chemistry. Don't panic if that's the case. I mean, that's very, very likely to happen. It could all be in your head. And when you get together, it could be like, no, just no. It could be just so idealized in your head that when you get together, you just don't feel the way that you thought you would. And that's nothing to be ashamed of. But it is something you should be honest with, because you still have what you always did. And that's that really cool friend to hang out with and play games with. But the two of you are going to need to have some kind of conversation to evaluate what's going on. Make some rules beforehand and stick to them, and always be honest with yourself and with them. Don't go to a place where you don't want to just for the sake of sparing someone's feelings, because honestly, you're not helping them by putting yourself in that position. If the great romance just isn't going to happen, and it could go this way, like I said, be sensitive. This is a real, actual person who's had expectations just the way you have, and they may be feeling that everything's perfect and everything's amazing and that you're just the most special person in the world still. And they are prepared to drop everything and start their life with you like in an instant. Just be sensitive if you're not feeling it. But like I said, always be truthful. If your friend is a real friend, if they actually care about you and show any maturity at all, they will accept and appreciate the truth. If you've both tried to step it up, if you're trying to take it to the next level and it just doesn't work, with a little bit more work and a little bit more sensitivity on both your part, you can get back to your online friendship, and there should be no lasting damage done, provided you haven't gotten physical when the other person believes it's love and it's lust. Just be really careful. I guess much like you would with any other relationship starting, but you have all this emotional backstory that you've shared. You may not be on the same page physically and emotionally once you get into that room together or that place together. Be really careful. Know your own mind, as always. I used to go to LANs, so I've had the opportunity to meet people I've gamed with on several occasions in a non-romantic way, as well as on dates and whatever. So definitely group situations, non-romantic settings, LANs are ideal. Where you're still focused on games, you still have that that thing that you share and you can talk about, and it's not going to get too weird. You don't have to have the us talk because you've got other focuses. That can be a nice way to break the ice. Having said that, I did lose my head over someone once. He lived close by and we had this really intense connection, and we were both single, and we hooked up 2 days after we met in a Halo lobby. It might have been 3 days, but anyway, it was really, really fast after. And it was intense, and for various boring reasons, we both got completely carried away. It went from 0 to a million in 3 days, 4 days, because the actual meeting thing happened, and it went really well. Now, it lasted a long while, the relationship, but when it did end, it was horrific. And all relationships are. When two people just can't be together anymore, it gets ugly. But from my gaming viewpoint, it sucked a lot too, because I lost a lot of friends. We used to hang out with my friends and his friends, and they all smushed together to become our friends. So when things didn't work out, I lost a big chunk of my friends list. So even though we all tried to get along and be grown up and mature about it, it's just really hard, because the nature of breakups are people choose sides, and it's an awful position for them to be in. And yeah, you will That's one of the dangers of fallout, is you don't just lose that person or change the way your relationship works. You could lose some other friends as well. So be prepared. One of the risks of taking it to the next level. But having said that, there are still those very, very lucky gamer couples out there who found each other. And the likelihood of finding someone who you actually connect with, who you can actually love and form a lasting relationship with, it's minute when you think of the millions of people who play online and the odds of actually finding that one person who's going to make your life better. It's remarkable. I'm thinking actually about a couple who are still together now. There's a guy from Chile met Aussie girl playing Halo 2, so it's quite a while ago now. And they had the online romance thing, and they scrimped and saved and managed to get some time together, and he lives here now. They're married and they have a daughter, and they are incredibly happy. And it was just a random meeting in, a public lobby of Halo 2 a million years ago. So, yeah, taking it to the next level is definitely a risky business. But the payoff is just huge when it happens. People's lives change. Your life could change. So, while the risk is immense, you could end up in such a good place. Just before I end this, I have a thought. Someone told me once that it doesn't matter where you find the extraordinary people in your life, it only matters that you find them. I am out of here, guys, and I'll catch yous.